Hello everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of I Cast Fireball, an actual play 5e adventure where we go through the campaign Tyranny of Dragons. I'm Thomas, your DM for this adventure, and we have...
Malamara.
And Thalen.
And Fleeple.
Last we left our adventurers, they had successfully infiltrated the camp of the cultists of the dragon. After discussing their supposed, rather deceptive desires to join the cult with one of the recruiters, they were then sent off to their assigned tasks. Mal to go to the more arcane side of the camp and prove herself, which ended in a very bloody battle with her almost decapitating Ovak, the other half-orc magic user in the camp, leaving Balam, the blue tiefling leader, seems to be unclear, displeased and disgusted. This also let Lance and Fleeple infiltrate the camp a little bit more, go to the lower end of the camp and talk to some of the kobolds, and Lance leaving him to talk with the orcs, the only orcs in the camp. After the tense conversation with the orcs, Lance quickly left to discuss the plan with Fleeple and find a way to bring this plan into fruition, allowing the orcs to burn the camp down to the ground without destroying the prisoners. This is when Mal joined up with the group and started discussing the details of the plan. So, we come to, all three of you, the sun is setting below the horizon, and night is encroaching on this caldera. As you are all in this hidden cave looking out at the rest of the camp, what else would you like to discuss? What would each of you like to do?
I've been putting some thought into this. If we've got a bunch of orcs who are going to be taking care of the muscle-bound sort of aspect of this, doing the chopping, doing the burning and the pillaging and whatnot, we can take care of the more delicate operations. I think what might be most valuable to us is gathering information while they take care of the distraction and the explosiveness and whatnot.
Wait, but I thought we would use that opportunity to get out of the camp, not to search for more information. It's going to be a limited time. This is going to last a long time, I'd imagine.
Well, here's what I've been thinking. When we first met those thugs in Greenest, that was the lowest rung of this ladder of command, as it were. And we keep discovering that there's a rung further up, presumably up until this lizard queen herself at the very top. And we haven't even seen Mondath yet. We need to figure out where Mondath is, figure out who Mondath is reporting to, who they're reporting to, and that eventually should lead us all the way up to the top, is what I'm thinking.
How do we do that while we're trying to burn down the camp?
So here's my thought that I've had. There's that Kava woman in the fancy green dress. She had that nice-looking desk. You don't carry a desk with you into a caldera unless you're going to use it for something. If Kava is reporting to somebody, then presumably Kava is receiving directions from somebody. And I reckon that's what we're going to find inside that desk.
Whoa.
You want to go searching in her desk while everybody's trying to burn down the camp? I just want to make sure that that's what I'm understanding.
What better reason for her to get out of that tent so we can search it than a big old horde of orcs at her front door?
Not a bad idea.
I feel that it's not... When this attack happens, when the orcs are going to be doing their thing, we won't have... There's not going to be a lot of time. We can't be searching for information, finding information, and then trying to figure out how to get the prisoners out. We got to just do it right away. If we do it later when the attack's dying down... What I'm saying is we'll have a better chance getting the prisoners out at the beginning and middle of this incursion than at the end of it, which if we're looking for information and searching and scouring different tents and things like that, that's what's going to end up happening is we'll start getting the prisoners out right at the tail end of this thing.
Well, why don't we divide and conquer then? Fleeple can go searching in the desk. Maybe I'll keep lookout, help some prisoners, and you can be at the forefront of trying to get those prisoners out so that you can get out of camp as quick as possible.
I like that. Lance is a very at-the-front sort of person.
He's a very running away person. Let's not get carried away.
Okay. Well, I don't run away from my problems, apparently, like somebody.
Oh, is that why we found you in Greenest in the first place?
You didn't find me. I was there drinking.
But I mean, I was in a tavern.
I technically found you. You were the one working there.
man waltzing into my gin joint.
Anyway, yes, it's all Fleeple's master plan.
Fleeple going, out of all the gin joints in all the world.
In all the continents of Faerun.
Well, wait, okay, if we really want to find out who the higher-ups are, I mean, it's not out of the question, Fleeple, to do what I had originally suggested, which was to actually tell them the orcs were planning this incursion, get in their favor, and then we can just meet the higher-up. Because obviously that would win us favor.
But then we still leave an entire camp full of people who are going to go out and loot more villages and take more prisoners and keep causing mayhem.
I'm just worried that we are trying to get more than we can actually accomplish. And what will result in that is us getting neither what we want, the information or the prisoners out, or us just killed.
I feel like it's a bigger risk to try and stick around and pretend and try and move our way up the cultist ladder than just burn it to the ground, use that as a distraction, and get as many out as we can.
I agree with that, but that's what I'm saying, is that we might be asking for too much by trying to get information and trying to get everybody out. I mean, yes, splitting the party has worked wondrously so far. Yet somehow I don't think that track record will hold.
I think it comes down to what we want to do after this. Yes, we want to get the prisoners out. Ostensibly, that's why we came here. We've got a job to do. But I have aspirations beyond that. I want this thing taken down. And to do that, you have to cut off the head of the serpent.
We're going to cut off a toe in this camp. This goes everywhere across the continent.
Exactly. And how do we figure out where the next place to go is without information?
Well, I figured that we would return the prisoners and then somehow magically another door would open to us, as if it was a progression of a storyline.
Goodness.
Nope, campaign over.
Lance, you're right. My plan is bad. Let's go with your plan.
What about this guy? And I point to, like, Thomas in a cloak, just, like, with a book. What?
Hey, don't break the fourth wall.
Don't talk about the geeky man.
Ignore the geeky man behind the curtain.
Behind the screen.
Oh. Well, it's been some time. You guys have had time to think.
Yeah.
Revise your plans.
Well, and we've short rested, I would imagine, to help Mal heal.
Oh yeah, this is for sure short rest. Feel free to Mickey get your spells back, or sorry, Mal get your spells back.
Oh, in that case, I'm actually going
heal
to
up some hit dice if you're gonna roll.
I still have 2 points taken from me when we got attacked, so I'm going to.
Me too. Exactly the same.
Now remember,
number.
at the end of every long rest, you get half of your hit dice given back every single day.
But if I've only spent one, I get that one back, I would imagine.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, but like if you spend all 3 hit dice, you only get one of them back the next day. So, what are we doing, guys?
Okay. If I can recall correctly, our plan is that we are waiting till the next night, because it's about nightfall tonight. I have to go to the Orc Camp and tell them, hey, we're going to strike tomorrow night. That's when it all goes down. And then we're just waiting 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
If we're waiting for 24 hours, why don't we just somehow cause that person to leave her tent, cover, and then Fleeple or I, or Sneakiness, and I'll look at Mal and go, can get into the tent and find the information you want. Why do we have to do it during the attack? We have 24 hours we're waiting around for.
To be honest, I thought we were attacking tonight.
Fleeple, we had just, like, literally 30 minutes ago, we had just discussed 24 hours.
My worry is if she gets back and notices that things are missing, then that could start the chain reaction going sooner than we anticipated.
I think it's better to use it as a
Maybe we
distraction.
don't take stuff. Maybe we just like remember what we read.
Thomas, can I get the keen mind feat in the next
5 seconds.
Yes.
Well, like we
Are we
could
leveling
we
up
could
right
read
now
it.
and-
We could read something and like write it down. Obviously, we can't take the whole freaking thing. I mean, we could take the whole freaking thing with us, but in order to not cause the suspicion, it's not like we won't be able to remember what we read.
I think it's a better idea to use the distraction, mostly because of the chain of reaction, but she could come back at any time,
Yeah, she could
whatever.
actually
But if she,
stay in that tent to secure her crap.
I mean, she could. I don't know that she would during an attack. And if that's the case, then we're no better off. But I mean, if we get information to go to different camps, they only have the fake names that I gave them a fake name. Did you guys give them a fake name?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Jank. We got Jank over here, the hammer, and I told them my name was Vandal.
We've given them fake names, and they have our race. We could go anywhere, and they won't know who we are. And so I think taking down this section and maybe moving on to the next is our best option.
This is what I propose. I propose that because we have literally 24 hours to kill, I propose we try to get somehow her out of that tent for an extended period of time. I don't know, Mal, you could boast of your feats of strength. I could maybe try and find another way to get her to consider this other espionage thing and to lead her over there and discuss it with her. I don't know. And we try and get in. If that's not successful, then we use the attack as a backup.
I'm happy with that. Fleeple?
It is a potential failure point, but I think if I take a nice little rest, I can learn Pass Without Trace and maybe we'll be good to go.
What's that?
We'll be able to move really, really sneaky.
That's literally my job description.
Yes, we'll be even to move even more sneaky.
All right, so what's happening?
Well, it's nighttime. I need to go talk to the orcs.
Yes.
And I would assume, and I'll look at Mal, you would not like to accompany me.
No. Fleeple, why don't you and I do some scouting of Kava's tent?
I need Fleeple. I need it to look like I have more than just me doing this. Because they think there's others I'm trying to get involved in.
Oh.
So I would like Fleeple to come with me.
Would it be helpful if I just stood somewhere near the people you're talking to and so you can gesture?
Originally I thought that you would want to come along just because it could keep up
not.
appearances that there are other people, not just kobolds, but like people of the camp, because a lot of people apparently are looking down on kobolds here.
Absolutely not.
You don't even have to talk to them.
Absolutely not.
As much as I love listening to an argument, how about Lance and I just go about on our way and get this taken care of?
Sounds good.
Great.
What's everybody's passive perception?
Not great.
13.
15.
12.
Okay. Sounds good.
Why don't you guys go, maybe I figure out where we're going to sleep tonight.
Okay.
And then we'll meet back up.
Okay.
Great.
And it shouldn't take us that long. I'm just telling them that it's happening the next night.
Great.
Cool. All right, let's go, Fleeple. Jank. Let's go, Jank.
All right. So you disperse. Fleeple Jank and Vandal heading towards the orc part of the encampment to continue that discussion, and Mal, you breaking off to find possible sleeping bag, possible provisions, maybe even a tent to sleep in, if I'm not mistaken.
Find out where the new recruits are supposed to go for the night.
Sounds great. Mal, go and roll me an investigation check.
Great. First roll of the night. Oh, that's not too bad. 18.
18. Easy enough. There are no desks for your orientation pins necessarily,
Not
but
badges and little goodie bags.
yeah, nothing like that, unfortunately. But you do find a requisition officer to get you a couple sleeping bags for a couple individuals, and they're hesitant at first to give 3 sleeping bags over, but you still have some gore on your clothing and on your face, and so all hesitance dissipates as they fully take you in and take your horrific sight. And you're able to have just sleeping bags, no tent, unfortunately. Those are all taken up. And
Great.
you have sleeping bags, though, to at least be bundled and not be terribly put out.
Sure. Great.
Vandal and Jank, aka Lance Fleeple, you make your way over to the Orc encampment.
Okay. And I'm going to talk to Fleeple real quick before we go in. So, you had talked about with the other kobolds that they're hesitant about any plan of insurrection, basically. Correct?
That's the impression that I got. What I'm thinking is, if we can wait until the last minute just to avoid any possibilities of these guys ratting us out, we go to them right before the attack is going to happen, be like, hey, the orcs are going. You're either with the orcs or you're against the orcs.
You're either with the rampaging orcs,
or
yes,
they will
either,
eat you.
Either you're moving with the rampage or you're moving under the feet of the rampage.
yeah.
So you think that's going to be more of a motivation for them? That's what you're thinking?
Kobolds are cowardly, and I speak from personal experience. I speak from personal experience. I think that's my plan. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay. Oh my gosh. You guys need a lot of self-help. All right.
Just wait till Lance gets around elves and just starts throwing like all these elf
shake.
things out, and Fleeple and Mal will be like,
Sorry,
"Whoa!"
we're not rich and tall.
Oh gosh. Okay.
All right, then let's go talk to the orcs.
And at this point, you have approached the edge of the camp, and both of you just roll a perception check as you're approaching.
They're all dead. Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's an 8.
8. Fleeple coming in strong.
That is a 22.
I should note here, I don't know if we've ever actually explicitly stated it, but we know kobolds have disadvantage on pretty much all checks in sunlight,
Really?
but yes, and attack
Ned.
rolls.
Yeah, kobolds have sunlight sensitivity, but Thomas is a very gracious DM, and he gave me some magical sunglasses that I can wear to negate my sunlight
You've
sensitivity.
never told us you had magical sunglasses on.
I just realized that right now as you rolled an 8, I was
That's
like,
a
oh, it
great
might be because of the sun.
description.
Oh, wait, yeah. So every single time Fleeple is walking around, maybe not so overtly in the camp here necessarily, but during daylight for the past 24, 36 hours, he randomly pulls out these. They're not huge, they're not Coke bottle glasses, but they are slight enough
No,
to...
please make them Coke. They're like John Lennon Beatles. Big old sunglasses.
The image I have in my mind is either like the Invisible Man from League of Extraordinary Gentlemen,
Yeah.
or if that's too obscure, Robert Downey Jr.'s Sherlock Holmes, that kind of
Oh, yes.
sunglasses look.
Not like
Yeah.
the Neo, like the tiny Neo ones.
Not quite Keanu Reeves level
So
here.
instead of 2 decades ago, we're going to go with a decade reference.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. So yeah, just keep that in mind. So Jank walking around with these sunglasses. Okay, but Fleeple, you had an 8, and Lance, you had
22.
a 22. Okay. Fleeple, your eyes are mainly focused on the kobold camp, and nothing has really changed over the past 6-8 hours since you have been over there and discussed a bunch of your plan and gathering all this information. But that is mainly what you are focusing on. Lance, your main focus is the Orc Camp, and so you see that there is a lot of movement here, but it is because you know what to look for. You recognize that there's movement. These orcs are starting to position possessions in a certain way. They're moving a tent and resetting it up over in this direction. Others are moving closer to the fire, maybe further away from the kobolds, and it seems that there is some very strategic positioning going around here. What you notice in particular is this outpost of orcs not too terribly far from the main outpost in the front entrance here. Maybe 100 feet away at max, but it could be even closer. And as you walk up to the camp, you notice 2 orcs covertly looking over at the watchtower and muttering to each other and discussing some things. But when you walk up, Sutha, she stands up and she goes, and all the other orcs, they stop what they're doing and go about their quote-unquote normal business. Suthu approaches. In Orcish, what information do you have to bring us, young elf?
In Orc, 24 hours. And then the strike.
Why do we wait so long? We could strike now. We could tear this camp down.
True.
You tell me, why do we wait? Why should I tell my warriors to wait another day?
Other pieces are being put in place of the plan. As you can see, and I'll look over at Jank, I have a friend.
And as he says that, I lower my sunglasses.
You don't know what I'm saying, it's an orc. Perfect timing.
Fleeple just does that every 5 minutes anyway.
He's like, wait, what's going on? Because his perception check, he's like, I can't see a dang thing. What's going on? It's nighttime. Why am I wearing shades at nighttime?
When you're cool, the sun shines
Yeah, when you're
all the
cool.
time.
Hey.
When you point over to your friend, she goes,
This little thing, you have brought a mere tiny creature to be your ally.
He has friends, and as you've ever experienced, even a gnat can cause a distraction for a blade to strike.
And I sneeze and cast Produce Flame, and a bit of fire shoots out of my mouth.
And there's that too.
She's taken a little bit aback.
Tell me, what are we to do? What is our role in this insurrection? We burn the camp to the ground, yes. But once the path is clear, me and my warriors, we leave.
As was agreed. You have gained your freedom by showing your power.
We have no power yet. We are not free.
Can I, because they keep saying they can't leave. I want to know what's holding them here. Besides just, but I don't want to give a... Oh, man. I have just recently traveled into this camp from the will of the Hires. What methods has this camp placed upon you to keep you in such a firm location for those as powerful as yourself?
They do not share our enslavement with you. One as dishonorable as them. I am not surprised.
What kind of enslavement? How are they holding you here?
Go ahead and roll a general, just persuasion check with that.
I'm having bad luck.
I say general, and then I specify with persuasion. Roll a persuasion check.
Thanks for the guidance, Fleeple.
I don't know what you're trying to do.
I know. I'm speaking in Orc. This is persuasion, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's 7.
She goes,
That is not pertinent to the insurrection.
And I'll, hold up my hands and just say, I just wanted to know if there was something I could do before tomorrow to help you be freer.
You make it easy for us to get out of here. That is what you can do. Now, what exactly do you need us to do so we can earn our freedom? How many lives do we need to take?
Holding these prisoners and yourself is pointless. You kill the leadership. You kill the upper camp. Let the prisoners wander where they will, back to their homes. They serve no purpose for the cult, only the selfish interests of the leaders here.
We cannot kill all the leadership. They are too heavily guarded. You know their defenses. You live there every night. We cannot hope to kill everyone.
Yes. Give them enough of a headache that this camp will not be able to function for some time.
Now that we can do.
and she kind of just chuckles to herself while she says that.
What sign will you give for us to start?
I'll lean over to Fleeple, and in Draconic, I will say, do you have, some kind of way of... Oh, sorry, this is Draconic. You have some kind of way of, showing some kind of bright light in the sky or something?
I cast Produce Flame. My signature ability.
Hey!
I hold the dancing ball of flame in my hands and then gestures if I'm gonna, throw it up into the air.
Do you think they'll be... gotta get my Queen's accent going here. You think they'll be able to see that from the upper camp to the lower camp down here?
Well, I could shoot out a thunderclap, perhaps.
Or what about that bright beam you were doing earlier?
A moonbeam?
That's an obvious sign.
Yeah, but it also gives away my position pretty quickly.
Does it go toward you, or can you cast that behind a barrel or something?
Okay, yeah, I could cast it from behind the barrel. Yeah, I'll be hidden. I attack one of the guards. That's the sign. We start the distraction. They come in. We sneak in.
Cool. And I'll turn to the orc and say, in Orcish, you'll see a light. Just such a contrast. Because Orcish is just so I'm like, hey, what's going on here? You will see a light brighter than one you've ever seen before. Hitting. And I'll just gesture up to the top of the camp. That is your sign.
Then we would give a sign of our own. Tomorrow at nightfall, you will know.
Okay,
and she just turns and stalks away.
I was being very specific, and I felt that was very general. Okay. All right.
Fleeple, with your passive perception, though, what you do see is they had a huge animal that they were cooking over the fire, and the fire is a little bit more intense now than it was at dinner. And it seems that their big pot is just over the fire now, and they seem to be putting in chunks of this animal into the pot.
Gumbo.
Not necessarily to eat. It doesn't look like they have any intention of eating it. It seems that they might be melting down some of the fatty substances or creating some sort of concoction as a result of it.
Yeah, Fleeple is an absolutely masterful chef, so he obviously knows that these guys aren't cooking this to eat.
You did work in a tavern, therefore.
Yes. So yeah, they're rendering fat. Can I roll either an Arcana or Nature check, perhaps, to see if I can glean some of the significance from this?
Sure, go ahead and do a nature check.
Nature check. I'm trying to flex that I know magic, so I'll go ahead and give myself guidance with that.
Sure. Flex away.
All right. For nature, oh, surprise, my intelligence is not great. That's a 10.
10? Okay. With that nature check, you know that the parts that they are putting in the pot are things that would not necessarily be edible, that they wouldn't necessarily want to eat, but they aren't just throwing everything in, and it's kind of hard to gauge exactly what they plan to use for it.
We'll find out next week on Fleeple's Dine-In, Dive-Ins, and
Dives.
Dives.
There you go.
I'm Guy Fieri.
He just gets these white tips.
Yep.
Anyway, okay.
Already got the sunglasses.
There you go.
Straight to Flavortown.
So, as this is wrapping up, Mal, where are you going in the camp? You have your sleeping bags. Is there anything else you would like to do with the evening?
No, I'll keep the sleeping bags on me and kind of make my way toward Kava's tent, but not like approach it. Just kind of be in the vicinity because I assume that's where Fleeple and Lance will come to find me. So just kind of standing around, trying not to be in people's way and just being near where they could find me.
Great. And with the night, with it being night, there are a few fires that are popping up throughout the camp. I assume you're not necessarily being next to a fire, or is that your intent to mingle amongst others? Okay.
No, to be separate.
Okay, sounds good. So there is one fairly close to Kava's tent. If you recall, though, Kava's tent is the closest one to the special prisoner, Leosin.
Right.
And so to throw suspicion off, I imagine you'd want to be a little bit further away from her tent to just not be in proximity to the prisoner there.
Absolutely.
And so just finding a place to bed down for the night and roll out your sleeping bag and just sort of listen and kind of gauge your surroundings, if I'm understanding right.
Yeah.
Okay, go around me a perception check then.
I'm really preoccupied with getting my sleeping bag just right, because I rolled a 5.
Okay. So, most of your surroundings, you just did one pass, you looked around, that was good, and now you're just getting your sleeping bag. But you are still in a close proximity to other people talking around fires.
Absolutely.
To the point where you overhear some conversation, whether it's relevant or not, who knows? But you do hear some snippets, some bits of conversation poke through. And it's not exactly clear what is poking through. Like, you're just hearing certain phrases when somebody's voices is raising above the overall clamor of the camp. Things like special prisoner, and then you hear another snippet of, why don't we get to look at the treasure? We're the ones that got it. And then other things mixed in about, those orcs, they're always finding themselves off in that corner over there, but nothing really making sense, or this might not even have been the same conversation, you know? It's the overall chatter of the camp. And you bed down and wait for Fleeple and Lance to join you. Fleeple and Lance, is that your intent as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so with that, finding your way back to Kava's tent, simple enough to find Mal, and you get your sleeping bags. Fleeple, do you intend to bed down with them up here?
I think that our good friend Vandal has made a good enough show of wanting to have me around that I can probably get away with staying up there.
Okay.
But before I do bed down, I want to touch base with Leosin again once more.
Okay. How would you like to do that?
I'm just going to kind of skulk around in that direction. Does it look as if there are...
I just had a picture of Fleeple as the Grinch, like, slithering along the like, trying to get to him.
What was that, Fleeple?
Does it look as if there are any people currently trying to guard the prisoner, as it were?
Go and roll a perception check.
Let's see. Perception. 13.
13. From what you can tell, no, there doesn't appear to be anybody actively guarding. However, as you're about to make your way over, you do see somebody break off from the main tent area, maybe a good 100 feet away, north of where Leosin is, and then come over, check on Leosin, grab his face, look at him, roughly throw his face back into the pole, and then walk back to the tent.
All right. As that person goes back to the tent, I rush in quickly and look up towards Leosin and say, "How long before they come back?"
Go ahead and roll me a stealth check.
All right. Stealthy boy. Let's see how it goes. A 19.
19. Okay. So you run up to Leosin and you ask how long before they come back?
They usually come every 15, 30 minutes or so. You were the one I spoke with before.
Yes, of course. If you didn't recognize my awesome shades.
I'm sorry, I've been... it's hard to make people out in this camp, especially with them being a kobold like yourself.
No worries, brother, no worries. Now, what would you say to a distraction? Would that aid in your quest?
Well, my main quest is to gain information, not necessarily to...
Dude, we are on the same page.
Do enlighten me, please.
So, you probably understand all this, but the way I reckon it, these guys are relatively low on the chain of command. We want to see if we can get to the top. And I reckon Green Lady in that tent over there has the information we need.
Yes. She does have a very distinctive demeanor to herself. Is she of a higher dawn, then?
From what I understand, she is here from a separate group of cultists.
She's probably a recruiter, then. I mean, she'd be at least of the third rank. Yes, okay. I think you were wise there. I apologize. It's very unnerving dealing with a kobold trying to infiltrate. I pulled
the fleece down over my face, and just continue conversing with him.
Okay, I apologize. I've just never come across one eager to resist the cult of the dragon, being so eager to assist them. Still, a distraction. I'm here for information. The moment I would escape these bonds, I wouldn't be able to get very far without them noticing me.
See, here's the thing. I have some magic I can use to make you, myself, and my friends very stealthy. In 24 hours, the orcs are going to cause a big ol' ruckus, and we are going to disappear into the shadows.
Oh boy. All right. To escape, to hide,
to free the prisoners, to get rid of as many of these cultists as we can, and to break into Kava's tent over there and see what kind of information we can steal from that fancy desk she's got.
Oh, all right.
He's licking his lips, which are dry at the moment. Whether in nervousness or due to dehydration, it's unclear, but he looks to you and goes, and he gestures to the wall behind you, which is just a sheer cliff up to the top, about 150 feet tall, and he goes,
I feel that I could probably scale that wall myself. How adept are you at climbing?
Well, I'm not exactly the most athletic person, but, I could turn myself into a monkey.
I don't know. I'm a king.
You truly are a very unique kobold. Well, I'll see. I'll plot a path up the wall here. See if maybe we can make our escape this way. But you said you were trying to free some prisoners as well. Yes?
Yeah, there's a bunch of prisoners from a town nearby called Greenest. We made a deal with the leadership there that we would.
Yes. No.
Get
that's
the
where I was
people-
captured as well. So yes.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
I pull out the choker necklace and show it to him.
How did you come across that?
It was given to me by your friend. He told us that we should come and find you. Your friend Nezem Wylidra.
Yes, I apologize. I forgot. You said that it's... Sorry, being chained to these posts, my memory goes in and out. I'm very fuzzy here. I apologize.
No worries, my dude, no worries.
I'll see if maybe we can scale these walls after we infiltrate Kava's camp over there, her tent over there. But I'm not sure how many prisoners we could take up that wall, but I'll see what I can do.
I know that I've got a couple friends who can help out with us. If you think that wall is the best way to go, I can let them know about that. Otherwise, they're ready to take those people out through the front.
Oof, that'll be difficult with the guard tower.
Oh,
standing.
The guard tower. If only somebody had taken notes about the guard tower.
I had. That's the only note I have.
Guard tower at the entrance.
Yes, that would obviously be the best case. Look, I'd love to continue this, but I would hate for either of us to get punished further. Perhaps we can make contact one more time before the distraction goes down. Perhaps, get in touch with me again. But it's best if you go now, probably.
Okay, catch you on the flippity flip. And I duck and roll back towards the rest of my group.
Duck and roll. Just somersaulting back.
As you somersault away, just...
Truly a remarkable species.
And I go, hey, you think that's unique? I'm 74 years old. And then I just skitter
My gosh. I didn't know you could hear me. I didn't know you could hear me.
What is that? What's that Gandalf line? Hopes, just when you think they go and surprise you. That's the kobold.
Oh, okay. Making it back to your camp, you bed down for the night.
I was going to talk to Mal real quick, if that's okay.
Great, sure.
I almost said Mariah, but that's not it.
Mariah.
Mara,
Yes?
I just realized we should probably contact that prisoner tent and let them know what we're doing, so we don't just show up randomly tomorrow and say, "Follow us." And we've been walking around this camp, and some of them have probably noticed us.
My understanding was that they were kind of all over the place. I don't know that there's a prisoner tent.
No. Me and Fleeple had seen it last. There is a tent where we can see them coming in and out whenever they're off duty or resting or whatever.
Confirmed.
Oh. I was unaware of that.
Remember when we recapped everything that happened?
Sorry, I was unaware. So
I feel like every couple hours there's just a voiceover that tells us.
and it always starts when we began in Greenest.
I know it does.
So-
It really does. It's kind of a little
But won't there
repetitive.
be guards inside of the tent? Like, what's the point of going
There's
to the
one
guard?
guard outside of the tent, but not. I don't know about in the tent. I would assume that they wouldn't have guards there while they were sleeping. They just have it outside so that nobody could get in. What I was thinking was that maybe with your more well-known prestige now, which, by the way, I don't think they're going to let that go. Something's going to happen tomorrow.
I think so as well.
Because they're not just going to let you almost kill somebody and then just let you walk around the camp more.
As she has the gore of Volvac all
What are you
over her
talking
face.
What are you talking about?
Man, I hate that Fleeple's not here for any of these conversations because he just keeps finding more and more reasons why we should have done the attack tonight instead of tomorrow.
Continue.
So, I'm just saying, they're not just going to let this go. So maybe tonight, before we bed down completely, me and you, while Fleeple's doing his thing, maybe we go to the prisoner camp, somehow like, I could use my connection to Kava in trying to find insurrection. You with your prestige of almost killing a pretty good spellcaster. Maybe somehow we can get in there and talk to them.
Well, I thought we were waiting for Fleeple to get back to try and get into Kava's tent tonight.
And just at this moment, Fleeple backflips
Into the fire.
into the conversation. He just rolls backwards into his sleeping bag at this moment.
Hey,
But like I was saying, I thought, are we not going to go into Kava's tent tonight? I thought that was the whole point.
I thought we were doing that tomorrow by creating a distraction.
We just said that we didn't want to try it just during the distraction.
No. What I'm saying, we have a 24 hours still. Tomorrow, during the day.
During the day?
Somehow we
instead
can get
of at
her out.
night when we could be sneaky and try and sneak in?
I could do that too.
You guys
yes,
are very
I was just
sneaky.
No, listen. Oh my god. I was just thinking that because that someone's going to approach you, maybe we could preemptively strike tomorrow, and we could go to the tent, get her to come out to talk to you because you're so cool and I'm a killer. Look at the gore on me, and we could get her out of the tent. And while she's conversing with you about your skills and crap, I don't know, then I could sneak into it. That's what I was thinking. I don't know if she beds down. Was there a bed in there?
You did not see a bed.
Okay.
Even if she does bed down in there, if you guys are quiet enough with some magical help and some magic boots, I think you guys could get in there tonight. I just feel like during the day will be much harder to like sneak in when there's all these guards all over the place.
All right. Well, maybe Fleeple and I then will go over. I mean, Jank and I can go over there tonight. By the way, this whole time I've been trying to also, I should have said this at the beginning. I even thought it right before we started talking. I've been trying to keep an eye out to make sure that no one's trying to eavesdrop on us.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me a perception
periodically,
check.
like just looking around, making sure no one's just like purposely trying to overhear what's going on.
Go ahead and roll me a perception check. And I was being serious when Fleeple rolled into camp there. So.
Sweet.
So Fleeple, you are there with him as well.
That's a 1.
Okay, great. Continue.
So, like, let's give it a couple hours, and then when everybody's mostly asleep, you guys want to sneak over there. And the prisoner thing, why don't we try and do that tomorrow, right before it happens? Just give them a heads up, hey, this is happening.
Because in tomorrow, 1, there's probably going to be more of them in that tent tonight. And 2, it's a little bit more obvious walking up in the middle of daylight doing it.
Yep, you're right.
Which I see your point now of me doing that in the day. I get it. Okay, yes. I'm making this up as I go. Didn't the intro tell you this is Shaky?
The nerd behind all of you is going,
Let's
Shaky plan.
This voice in my head keeps saying shaky plan, even though I think it's a good plan.
Dude, I'm just imagining the nerd behind the screen sitting next to the toothless kobold, just having a nice chat.
That's when my other tooth got lost. Oh, boy.
I don't feel like it's a conscience because it's just berating me all the time.
Let's do Kava tonight and the prisoners tomorrow.
No, the prisoners is not a good idea.
If we don't, but they have all night and tomorrow to possibly rat us out. We don't know that they would all be loyal. They could try and turn us in for out of their chains. Like, there's lots of reasons that a prisoner would reveal that plan versus, hey, in 5 minutes, we're going to try and make a break for it. And then they have no time to tell anybody. Because we don't know who their leader is. We don't know if there's a hierarchy. There could be more guards in the tent. I just think that's a really bad plan. And if you're a prisoner and you see an opportunity to run because the place is on fire, I think you're going to without any instruction.
Just like the kobolds.
All right. Fine. Come on, Jank. Walk away.
I will stay here.
Okay, are you trying to infiltrate Kava's tent now?
I mean, yeah.
Wait a couple hours, man.
Mal
it's
thinks
only
that's
like,
a good
it's
idea,
only
but yet talking to
sundown.
prisoners is a bad idea. Let's go to the tent that has all
I mean,
this
like 3
knowledge in
a.m.,
it.
man. Like,
Yeah, Fleeple would support waiting a little bit before trying to do that.
Okay, well, I'm going to go for a walk. I just get up and start walking.
Sounds good. So Vandal gets up and starts walking. For the sake of time, if there's nothing else that you'd like to do for the evening, we'll say that a couple hours have passed, and the camp is pretty much died down. The revelry has died down. There's not a lot of talks, discussion, and the nearby tents and other sleeping bags are pretty much silent right now. You feel pretty confident that it's the dead of night.
Okay, so I think that you two should go in, and I'll stay outside as a lookout, and we should fill our sleeping bags to make it look like we're still sleeping here.
What? I'm sorry. You're going to fill our sleeping bags to make it look like we're sleeping, so if anybody wants to walk up and talk to us and sees we have purposely laid decoys in the camp, that's okay. You made fun of my plan. I'm just going to throw it out there. Bad plan.
All right, great. Let's go. Let's just go to Kava's tent then.
No, we don't. Mal, stay here. No, stay here. Me and Jank will go. Because we don't need all three of us walking around in the dead of night trying to not be suspicious. And you tend to be really bad at it.
Mal will stay in her sleeping bag. Firmly.
Okay.
And very quiet.
And fill ours with dirt.
But Mal, do you do the thing where you're pretending to be asleep, but you purposely are really stiff? Trying to be you remember when you were a kid and you were I'm so asleep, and then you made yourself as stiff as a board
And you didn't breathe while doing it.
instead of just being natural.
Yeah. No, but I want to watch Kava's tent, but from my sleeping bag as far as I can.
Okay, sounds good. Mal, go ahead and roll a perception check.
Great.
And Lance and Philippe will go ahead and roll a stealth
That's
check.
really good.
I'm going to give Lance guidance.
Okay, sounds good.
No, 19.
We're not breaking out the pass without a trace thing?
Yeah, pass without trace.
I don't get that until tomorrow.
Oh, you have to prepare it. Gotcha. All right.
Yeah, that's why he said tomorrow.
That's for the second time round if this doesn't work. All right.
That's fine too.
Giving guidance. That's a natural 20.
Okay, for a total of what?
That is a total of, with guidance as well,
48.
That's 29.
Dang! And Fleeple?
I got a 13.
13, okay.
Guidance maybe went to the wrong person.
So,
I rolled a natural 20.
Lance and Fleeple, as you stand up and you start creeping your way towards the tent of Kava, with the intent to enter, infiltrate, get some sort of documents from her tent. Fleeple, you're trying to keep up with Lance, and as a result, it's a little bit harder for you to match his footsteps. One, because of your size. Two, just because you're not as adept at being stealthy as he is. But with Lance being as quiet as he is, he's able to wait up for you, assist you where he sees you would maybe make a noise or break a branch, kick over a rock, things like that.
Don't step on that person's foot.
Just slowly lifting your legs over the sleeping bodies, but you make your way over to Kava's tent. And as you are at Kava's tent, it's only 50 feet from Leosin, and there are guards still standing about of the main tent just north of you. The same amount of guards, same amount of drakes, firmly at attention. Who is going in first, or how are you infiltrating the tent?
I would like to
here?
first, because I am really scared about this whole crap, I'm going to first investigate the outside of the tent to see if there's any kind of signal, trap wire, something that would indicate people are entering this tent for someone who doesn't want people to enter the tent.
Great. Go ahead and roll me a investigation check.
Okay. There you go. That is a 21.
21. Doing a slow turn of the tent. It takes you a good 10 minutes just firmly investigating and with a little bit of the moonlight in the sky. It's fairly cloudy, but there is some light that still peeks through, which is both to your benefit in stealthing and investigating around this tent here. There doesn't appear to be any tripwires, any noticeable traps. You do see one flap in particular is a little bit looser than the others around the back, but other than
I would like to use that one to go in.
Okay. It's not fully to the height of you, but maybe with some maneuvering or some sort of manipulation, you could, depending on how well you do, make a second entrance into this tent.
Wait, I thought this flap was a second entrance just in the back. What is the flap you're talking about then?
No, so like everything else is tied down to the ground, but there is one that is a little bit torn already.
Oh, so it's a tear in the tent.
Sorry, yeah.
Oh,
so
okay.
I say flap because it's a tear.
Okay, I would not want to tear it further, so...
Okay, sounds good.
I will not do that. I will just go to the front.
Okay. So as you go to the front, the flaps are tied, but without issue. You can gingerly untie them and slip on in. And Fleekpool, do you follow after?
I would like to wait until we can ascertain, do we know if there are people inside the tent?
At the time, you do not know if there are people inside the tent.
Could he hear... maybe as I'm inspecting it, he was, listening to hear if he heard anything?
Fleekpool, if that's what you would like to do, I will allow you to roll for that.
Sure.
We'll have it be also this one will be a perception check.
Okay. Natural 20 for a 25.
Bang. As you are listening there, just as Lance is about to go into the flap, you hear a...
Of course.
Inside.
He's fetching sleeping.
So yeah, I reach out and stop him and go,
She's inside.
How do you know?
I heard her snoring. This is why I wanted us to get her out of the tent before we try and go inside.
Okay, well, you don't need to rub in that your plan's perfect here.
See, here's the thing, Lance.
No,
Every time
stop.
Mal
We're
and
not
I...
talking about this right now. Let's talk about this later. We gotta do something right now. I could still work around her.
I'd rather you didn't try to work around her. I'd rather we not risk it, because if we blow this, we've blown the entire plan.
I could...
Lance?
I don't know if it's her. I'll stick my head in real quick to see if it's her.
Go and give me a perception check.
Oh, wow. 22?
The inside of this tent appears to be, for the most part, pretty much unchanged. No light, no lantern necessarily, just the moon coming in from the top of the tent a little bit there. And you do see in a chair with a big old fur blanket wrapped around her, Kava, snoring in the chair.
The chair that's right next to the desk, next.
No, she has a side chair next to it, one that's more suitable for lounging. She's not in her office chair, if you will. She's one that's she can lounge, lay in a bit, fall asleep in.
Okay, I duck my head out. Okay, it's her. So just to be clear, you want to wait for the full distraction at nighttime tomorrow night.
We have a big plan with a lot of moving pieces. Any additional complexity we add to this plan is another potential point for failure.
I just feel like you're asking for us to do a lot in a very short amount of time tomorrow night.
When you punch somebody in the face, that's the time to go in for the next blow, while their ears are still ringing. Have you ever heard about Krav Maga? It's called Red Sev.
when you started with that, I was like, okay. And then you followed up, and I was like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah, okay, that's for sure.
No, seriously,
you don't wait for the follow up. You just go right into it.
Yeah, that's what Krav Maga is all about. It's called Red Sev.
Oh, nice.
The more you know.
As soon as they're disoriented, you just keep going. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's tie the tent back up. I tie it back up.
Simple enough. And you make your way back to your sleeping bag?
I'd just like to be clear, I did stop Mal from putting dirt in our sleeping bags.
Before we quite get back to where Mal is, I want to kind of stop Lance, and I want to say,
you can trust me and Mal. We're trying to do what's best for you.
I appreciate your trying to reassure me. If you wanted what was best for me, you probably should have let me go a long time ago.
I was ready to let you go, and you decided you wanted to stick around.
I did, because I promised somebody something. I'm just saying, yes, I know I have trust issues. I know that I have ulterior motives and thoughts, but...
Wait, what?
As in, I have my own agenda. Like somebody else who wants to stop a cult because it's personal, not because it's the right thing to do.
Oh, well, I'm
That's not a hidden agenda. I was pretty upfront with you guys about that.
I know that, but I'm saying, don't act altruistic when you're really just here for yourself. I walk away.
Fleeple stops, and he goes back down to the lower camp to hang out with the rest of the kobolds.
I imagine that whole conversation was not done right outside the tent of Kava, as you were slowly, gingerly making your way over to...
Yeah, I stopped him just shy of the original encampment.
So as Lance goes into the sleeping bag to turn in for the night, Mal keeping a watch out the entire time, and Fleeple, with a new emotion on his mind, hesitates and turns to go to the lower camp with all the other kobolds. That's where we'll go ahead into tonight's episode of I Cast Fireball.
How shaky is our plan now?
What'd you say?
How shaky is our plan now?
Only time will tell. Only time will tell.
And the DM every recap.
On a scale of last week to the week before that, how shaky is our current plan?
Our plan hasn't really changed, though. Like, our plan is literally still get the orcs to do crap and try and get everybody out.
I think your plan is pretty on par for most D&D plans.
Oh, that's good. That's really reassuring.
TPK.
Most third-level D&D players.
Good stuff. A lot of tense moments for me, and
A lot of RPing.
a lot of tense moments for the players here. So, all right, well, we'll see what happens on next week's episode of I Cast Fireball. Thanks, everybody, for listening to tonight's episode. Just really appreciate you taking the time to join us for this adventure, to see what's going to happen here. We have no idea what's going to happen in the cultist camp, and we're just as excited as you to see what's going to happen in the next week and next session. So if you like what we're doing, please feel free to leave us a 5-star review on your podcast service of choice. If you'd like to reach out to us, we've got an email, icastfireball2020@gmail.com. Give us a shout out, tell us hi, tell us what games you're playing, and we'd love to give a shout out to you on our podcast as well. And speaking of shout outs, we had someone reach out through Instagram that we want to shout out on this week's episode. Roy recently discovered our podcast and said it was one of the best playthroughs that he's ever listened to. Credit to our sound and audio editor. I think we speak from all of us at the cast here when we say the podcast would not nearly be as amazing as it was if it weren't for Mickey doing all of the wonderful sound edits that you hear and making it sound as crisp and as clean as it does. So Roy, we 100% agree. Thanks for the shout out. And if you want to get shouted out on future episodes, follow us on Twitter and Instagram with the handle ICastFireball20. You can shoot us a message through there, leave us a 5-star review, or shoot us an email. Our last shout out of the night, as always, is to our sister podcast, Improv Tabletop, where Ned, our resident kobold here, takes a turn at the GM seat and runs through many 1-month adventures using the Fate Accelerated tabletop system. If you like hearing from Ned, crazy wacky improv, or just a little surprise, go and give him a chance, and don't forget to leave them a 5-star review. Lastly, like, subscribe, and share with all your friends and fellow wacky adventurers. But until next time, I'm Thomas, your DM, and around the table we have
Malamara.
Lance Thalen.
And Fleeple.
Let's keep that fire going, and we'll see y'all next time.